This is the second battle between me and Telemnar Numenorean, and I think this battle is pretty funny because in the first matchup I chose Carthage as my first pick on the pyramids. I messed up and I did not go for summer. I had the map on winter, so Tylis was just able to win there. It came down to Numenor dealing with my skirmishers effectively and having more units than I was able to deal with and skirmish down in the late game. So when he picked Carthage on Nemetusena, I decided to pick Tylis because I am super confident in the abilities of Tylis against Carthage. You have the raiding horse, and I can't. I did a unit spotlight about these units because I love them so much. They have good armor, they have good melee stats, they can skirmish. They aren't completely useless when they've used all of their missiles. They can go for rare charges and do a lot of damage. And even more importantly, they're going to be able to counter elephants anywhere on the field. But Telemnar probably knows that I prepared for elephants in some way, so he didn't bring any. Still, you're always going to bring your raiding horse. I can't see any situation where you don't want these guys on your team. So my build consists of the standard 6 tribal warriors, the tanks of Total War Rome 2, an Oathsworn general, he's a strategist, 3 mercenary Thracian peltasts, 2 levy freemen, and 2 lone Celtic warriors on the flanks. Carthage has, interestingly enough, chosen to not bring any skirmishers. Carthage has 2 cavalry units, if we're not counting the general's bodyguard, 1 shock cavalry and 1 Carthaginian cavalry, 6 Libyan infantry in the center, backed up by 4 mercenary Iberian swords, 4 late Libyan hoplites, and 1 Libyan hoplite, I believe, and then 2 African pikes. So that's it. Rush build from Carthage with some hybrid skirmisher support. So since my raiding horse don't have any delicious elephants to take care of, I'm going to ensure that I do as much damage to the cavalry and infantry as possible before the main engagement starts. I'm also going to use these guys to bait javelins out from the Iberian sword so they don't have javelins available for the late game. Telemnar is going to screen very nicely here with his Libyan hoplites. I'm obviously not going to fire at the Libyan hoplites. I have fire at will turned off so I can pick my targets, getting rare shots on the Libyan infantry, and then I'm just going to pull away when the mercenary Iberian swords are starting to fire, which should allow me to pull out of their range effectively. So starting to kill some Libyan infantry, getting very close here, and I'm going to try to bait javelins from the Libyan infantry as well, losing 2 raiding horse, but that was decent. I wasn't able to pull away in time, but I was able to save most of my men and bait some javelins, doing more damage to the Libyan infantry. This is going to be so important for when the main engagement starts. I'm not firing over on this side because this is the unshielded side of the enemy units. Telemnar is wisely turning his Libyan infantry to face my raiding horse, so I'm going to turn them around and start firing at the flanks again. Into the unshielded side, the Libyan hoplites are rushing up to save their Libyan friends in the Libyan infantry. So nicely done in using this very cheap unit in to protect the Libyan infantry. Just running around trying to get good angles with my raiding horse. I'm going to take this very, very slowly and do all the damage that I can before the main engagement starts. I'm not really worried about this Carthaginian build, but I do want to do this a lot. Just make Carthage waste a shit ton of javelins. 2 javelin volleys wasted. And this is another way to make units cost effective. To deplete infantry units of their javelins and to draw away javelins from units like mercenary Iberian swords. It's going to be massively useful in the late game and massively useful in the charges. So I'm going to do it again. I'm taking a few hits here, but not a whole lot. And 2 volleys wasted from the mercenary Iberian sword, so now they only have 3 left. I'm going to see if he's going to take the bait again, if he has his units on fire at will, and it looks like he turned fire at will off. So this, when there's no response to the heavy horse, this can be extremely frustrating. So what I'm hoping is that he will get so frustrated that he will just charge, because I'm prepared to do this for a long ass time, just skirmishing and kiting and pulling away the ammunition on the Iberian swords and on the Libyan infantry. And the Libyan infantry is taking damage here. Losing 16 men before the main engagement starts is not good for mainline sword infantry. I'm not going to try to get in here because the shields are on this side, so shots here are not going to be as effective as shots against this flank. And now the Libyan infantry is dropping quickly. Should be able to get some rear shots now as well. But I am riding out. I'm riding around to get at the flanks. And another thing with firing at the flanks, firing diagonally at units, is that since you're aiming for the center of the units, in many cases it's better to fire diagonally down the length of a unit than it is to fire straight at the center. Because it seems that more shots are going to hit if you fire diagonally down, since most arrows or javelins will miss in front of and behind the unit. If you're firing from this side, you're going to be aiming at the center, and then you're going to be hitting more men. At least it looks like that from my observation of it. Carthaginian cavalry decides they've had enough of the raiding horse. The raiding horse is just going to do what they do best: run away, do some damage to the Carthaginian cavalry. Again, very annoying. I hate it when this happens against me, but being able to do it against an opponent is a lot of fun. And this is going to make the Carthaginian cavalry a lot less effective when we start engaging. So the 2 things I'm worried about here are African pikes. They can kind of mess up my charges. And then the noble cavalry. The noble cavalry could smash my sword line before the Libyan infantry moves in, and if that happens, it's not going to be fun to be Tylis. But still, there's nothing really worrying about this Carthaginian build, although the balance of favor is decisively against me. That is mainly because Carthage just having so much infantry, and me having the skirmishers, the levy freemen and such. But I'm very confident in my Tylian sword line. So it looks like Telemnar has had enough of this, and I don't blame him in the slightest. Taking more damage on the Libyan infantry. Almost down to half strength now. So even Celtic warriors should be able to do well on the charge against this unit of Libyan infantry. Moving up with his mercenary Iberian swords, and with 95 armor and good shields, I'm not really worried about the mercenary Iberian swords. They are very annoying units, but not really worried, so I'm just going to push up my levy freemen, since there isn't any elephants on the field, and there aren't many cavalry units for me to worry about. I'm just going to do the tried and tested YOLO charge, do damage to the mercenary Iberian swords, and just basically charge with everything I have. So some of the charges connect, some of the charges are sort of messed up. He has some mercenary noble fighters, but I made sure to match them up against my Orthzone general, because he's the strategist. I'll be able to use headhunt and battle rhythm, so he should do well against the mercenary noble fighters. And look at the mercenary noble fighters going down, also taking fire. Wow, that is amazingly quickly. Also taking fire from my mercenary Thracian peltasts. But kind of annoying that the pikes are here, because my Oathsworn are stuck against the pikes and the late Libyan hoplites. So I'm going to use my mercenary Thracian peltasts to fire at the pikes. And the pikes are going to go down quickly. I'm actually going to allow this because my opponent is firing at my units. My units are heavily armored, and this is going to do significant friendly fire to his own units. The noble cavalry did a heroic charge, but not getting any kills, and it's going to be neutralized by my raiding horsemen. My mercenary Thracian peltas are unopposed in the center due to there not being any cavalry around to deal with them, and they're going to be able to take down the African pikes very quickly. The mercenary noble fighters not doing well. We have some weird angles developing because my Oathsworn were in shield wall, so they're not actually fighting now. And that's pretty bad. All across the line, engagements going down. I charged this Carthaginian cavalry with my raiding horse because the raiding horse are going to do well in melee against depleted Carthaginian cavalry, just to hold them there for a while. Late Libyan hoplites going down. My Oathsworn didn't do too well against the African pikes, but now I'm going to be able to sandwich the mercenary Iberian swords between some Oathsworn and some raiding horse, should I so choose. The Oathsworn are going down. One unit of tribal warriors going down to mercenary noble fighters. That is to be expected. But I'm able to get into the mercenary Iberian swords, so they have sort of played out their role in this battle for now. And this is why the raiding horse is so great. They're just defeating the Carthaginian cavalry with ease. Putting away my mercenary Thracian peltas because some of these units got a bit too close, and I miss-microed my general horribly here, and you can see I'm miss-microing my tribal warriors as well because these guys are not really fighting at the moment. Getting another charge against the late Libyan hoplites with my raiding horse. They're going to do well in this engagement. Now that my mercenary Thracian peltas are out of ammunition, I'm going to start charging the African pikemen with them. And the African pikes are going to take a lot of damage from mercenary Thracian peltas. Rear charges incoming against Libyan hoplites. They will not like getting charged in the rear by raiding horse. Not many units do, and look at how quickly they drop to the raiding horse. I can't say enough how great raiding horse are. They're just so amazing. Late Libyan hoplites just standing around and looking at the battle. The mercenary noble fighters are still alive, mainly because of me miss-microing my Oathsworn here. And I did manage to sort of get him into the African pikes before the African pikes dropped their pikes. And since I have the mercenary Thracian peltas in here as well, I'm just going to allow my general to engage the pikes frontally. Nice blob going on here with mercenary Thracian peltas charging into the rear of mercenary noble fighters. They should be able to do some damage to the mercenary noble fighters, get some kills due to their high amounts of armor penetration, but this is not a good engagement for my mercenary Thracian peltas. Still, getting a rear charged on mercenary noble fighters is always nice. The enemy general is running around over here, and I'm going to charge him with my raiding horse. The raiding horse and the levy freeman should be able to defeat the enemy general fairly easily. And the mercenary noble fighters have 221 kills, so an amazing amount of kills for the mercenary noble fighters. The pikes are off the field, one of the pike units anyway. Well, no, they're not actually, they're repositioning behind my lines. But before they are able to drop their pikes, I'm going to charge them with my Oathsworn. And that's going to be the end of this pike unit. And my Oathsworn are still fresh, even though they have been fighting. Well, not really fighting, they have been standing around and doing nothing for a long time. The same with my tribal warriors. That happens sometimes when you're lazy with the micro and when the shield wall is in place. So the pikes are kind of just awkwardly pushing against the tribal warriors. Not really getting kills. Raiding horse incoming before the pikes got to turn around. Smashing the pike unit. Not getting a lot of kills, but it did disorganize them to a significant degree. All across the battlefield, Carthaginian units are being defeated. These mercenary Thracian peltas are actually grinding it out against mercenary noble fighters and Libyan infantry. Just great units. But here comes the noble cavalry. Straight into the mercenary Thracian peltas, and that's going to break them. But they did get 92 kills before being broken. More raiding horse into the back of these Libyan infantry. So when the general of Carthage is off the field and there's raiding horse incoming from all sides, a lot of infantry left for Tylis. Carthage did not have a response to the Oathsworn and to the tribal warriors in this battle, I think. Not bringing any skirmishers is super risky. I can understand not bringing the elephants, but not having enough cavalry and going this infantry heavy just sets you up for rear charges all day. And even though there are only rare charges from the raiding horse, these kills that they're getting are very important, and I'm getting the kills for cheap, because these units only cost 490. Last unit of African pikes going down, and the chain rout is going to start happening with Carthage. So this was the second battle between me and Telemnar Numenorean. Once again, Tylis defeats Carthage. Tylis is a beast of a faction currently due to the tribal warriors, the Thracian Peltast and the raiding horse. That combination is very hard to beat. Let's have a look at the kills. Thracian Peltast did well, raiding horse did well. The Oathsworn didn't do as well as they could have done, because I mismicroed them horribly. Had them frontally against pikes and had them standing around in shield wall doing nothing. For Carthage, the Libyan infantry does okay. One of the mercenary noble fighters did amazing, but I suspect a lot of those kills were against Celtic warriors and levy freemen. So one of these units of mercenary Iberian swords did well. 3 of them did basically nothing. And I think the noble cavalry wasn't really effective either. 1 noble cavalry costs more than 2 raiding horsemen, and if you compare the kills on these units, the raiding horse just perform amazingly well for their price. So another victory for Tylis against Carthage. Good game, well played to Telemnar Numenorean. It's an extremely tall order trying to defeat Tylis as Carthage. I would have liked to see an elephant, but Telemnar said he didn't really like elephants, which I don't blame him for. I'm not particularly fond of elephants myself. Just seems safer to bring elite swords or more infantry. I would have brought more skirmishers to snipe the general, because sniping the general with mercenary Iberian swords means that you have to get so close that the mercenary Iberian swords can get charged themselves, and then they'll just die. So those were the 3 battles between me and Telemnar Numenorean. Victory for me 2-1 in a few very good games. I quite enjoyed these games. Thanks for watching. Strength and honor.